program is brought to you by P. Murphy and Associates, successfully providing IT professionals to Southern California businesses.
Hi, this is Marlene Gibb with What Do You Do? And we're continuing with part 2, and I want to reintroduce our gentleman and say who you are and the name of your company.
Sure. Hi, I'm Randy Bishop. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Verengo Solar.
And I'm Ken Button, and I am the president and the other co-founder
of Verengo. All right, we're going now part 2. We're going to talk about the business when you took over the business.
Mm-hmm.
You found this company that was a window replacement company. Mm-hmm. With what, 9 or 10 employees? It wasn't a big company, was it?
No, it was decent size.
Oh, it was decent
Just to back up a little bit,
okay.
we talked last time about the types of companies we were looking for, and solar was an industry we were very interested in, but it was very new, and we looked at a couple of small companies that were for sale in the solar industry. They were very small, poorly run, and felt like they were worth billions of dollars, and so it was very, very tough to come to terms with some of those people.
Right.
So we broadened our scope a little bit and looked at other types of businesses, and the company that we finally settled on was focused on energy efficient improvements for the home market, and mostly residential replacement windows, insulation, some energy efficient textured coatings and siding, that kind of thing. And our vision was that we could take a company like that, and with everything going on in California, and in fact even more broadly in clean tech, we could move it over into the solar world and be positioned to take advantage of all the innovation and excitement that was going on in the solar industry at that time.
Okay, so how were the negotiations with this? I mean, because did they really want to sell? I mean, sometimes they don't want to and they're negotiating. Did they really want to sell, and did they know what you wanted to do? Did they know that you wanted to make it into more of a solar company?
Yeah, and like any transaction like that, it's not always a smooth process, and this wasn't either. It goes up and down as you go through it. Particularly when you're trying to buy a smaller business that is the baby of the person selling it.
Yeah, it's very personal.
It's very personal.
It's an extension of them.
So it took a few twists and turns along the way, but ultimately it was done, and we bought the business in February of 2008.
Okay.
And so you have to wind back the clock a little bit, but if you think back, in the summer of 2008 was really when the economy started collapsing.
Oh yeah, right.
And Lehman Brothers went out of business, and that was really when we sort of drove off the cliff with the economy, which made it a very interesting time to build a business, particularly one in the home improvement space, and because that business got very tough very quickly. But at the same time, we launched our solar business, which was really the foundation of our plan, and we were off and running with solar from that point.
Did you keep a lot of the employees?
We did.
Okay.
We did. So initially, it was really the same employee base, and over time there have been changes, but a lot of the original employees made the transition into solar with us.
And you started in Orange, California.
Yes, the company was based in Orange, California.
And you moved it to Torrance. When did you move it to Torrance?
Just about 3 months ago, last November.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So you kept it in Orange all that time?
We still have a warehouse in Orange and kind of a base of operations. We just moved the corporate headquarters to Orange.
Yeah. We really moved is maybe the wrong word, because what happened is that we outgrew that facility. And so, our business has been growing, really fast. As we've expanded both in Southern California and then throughout the rest of California, and we've launched in New Jersey. And so we outgrew the office, and we needed a new headquarters facility. So that's really what we did. We kept the old office and we opened a new place in Torrance.
Tell me about the growth in the solar industry.
Sure.
The job growth.
That's one of the great things about being in this business. It's really tough out there. We have high unemployment, particularly in the construction trades. And solar's growing, and we're growing. And just to give you a sense, we hired 400 people in last year, in 2011. And those are local jobs. They're all kinds of jobs: marketing, sales, construction, and they're not exportable jobs. These are local jobs that will stay here and have to stay here. And it's one of the really gratifying things about being in this business.
400 jobs in Southern California.
400 jobs, mostly in Southern California, some in Northern and some in New Jersey.
And can you give an approximation, maybe in the next 2 years, how much more it's going to grow with jobs?
So we doubled in size year over year, and I see us staying on that pace going forward.
You started in 2008 when you bought the business with how many employees?
There were about 85 employees when we bought the business, and then we had the recession, so we went down.
Yes.
And then we started
Fast.
going up again.
Right.
Right.
This.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so that's good.
Yeah.
That is really good. So there is real growth in this industry.
There is real growth in this industry, absolutely. And we're now the largest installer of residential solar in California. So we're very proud of that.
And you're probably the largest employer of jobs in Southern California too, being the largest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you throughout California?
Yeah, we are now.
In every city? Or now let's talk about all the cities that are in California. There are 100. I think there are 111 in LA County alone, something like that.
Yes.
I heard that one day. And so when you go in, do you have to train the salespeople in about every city, or do you know what? Are there any commonalities in the rules, or they all have these kind of common rules, and then this is a little off, and this is a little off?
Well, luckily on the sales side, it mostly has to do with the utilities, and there are a lot fewer utilities than there are cities. So Southern California Edison covers a big chunk of the Southland, and LADWP covers another big chunk. So we need to make sure that our salespeople understand how those different utilities work, because ultimately, when you get solar, you're replacing your electricity on your utility bill with electricity from your solar. And so that's the most important piece. We have to internally then interface with all the cities for permitting and for interconnection and making sure that everything is okay. So
Let me back up. If I'm just talking about me and living in Monrovia, so let me get this clear. If I decide I want solar panels, right? And we have Edison here.
right.
All right. Is Edison Edison won't be billing me anymore? Who's going to be billing me if Edison isn't billing me?
So that's a little bit of a complicated question, but because there are a lot of different ways that you can do it.
Okay.
But let's just take the easiest. If you were to buy your solar system,
Okay.
right?
You can buy a solar system, or you rent a solar system.
You can lease a solar system. You
Okay.
can buy it. You
Okay.
can finance it. So there's a whole bunch of different ways that people end up getting solar. But
Okay.
the simplest way to explain is, you put solar panels on your roof. Some people do what's called being off the grid, which would mean you're not connected to Southern California Edison anymore. That's a very, very small part of the market, probably less than 1%. The vast majority of people stay connected to their utility, but then 70, 80, 90% of their electricity comes from their solar panels, and then whatever they have left, they get from the utility.
So you continue to get a bill, but it's much smaller.
Okay. I just want to. I'm thinking, oh my God, that sounds really complicated. Where's Edison and where's this? And
No.
We had the big windstorms up here,
Right.
Yeah.
and
Not an issue, no.
No, and one of the main reasons.
but people were complaining about Edison not being there fast enough. Oh yeah,
Right.
it was a lot of things came up. So when
Sure.
you said that,
So you're still connected. As long as your utility is working, you're still getting power from them in the event that you need it. And
well, are you authorized through is your marketing to the utility companies rather than the cities?
our marketing's to the customer.
Yeah, but
So we market to the customer,
You
and then
market to-
the customer says that they want to get solar, and then we work with both the utility and the city to make that happen.
So we talked about this in the last segment a little bit. We do a lot of work to allow this to happen make all this complexity transparent to our customers.
It's,
Right?
you got to.
And you have to.
Yeah,
when you deal with 110 cities just in this county, right,
Yeah,
and
right.
every city has a little tweak and a twist and a different rule, as an industry, it's one of the things that we really need to fix. We need to standardize and streamline those rules because it takes
Definitely.
a lot of time and effort and cost, and we could do what we do even with a better value proposition if we smooth some of that out. But at the end of the day, you know, to your point about bills and dollars, the reason why solar is so popular now, why it's growing so fast, is because it works and people save money, and that's really the root of it today.
Well, this affects the profits of the utility company, because if I'm not paying Edison as much, it's going somewhere else, right?
Utilities have interesting models, right? They
Okay.
try and encourage you to save electricity at times when
Yeah.
they don't want you using electricity.
They show you your grid every month.
But they
Right.
also
Where you are.
want to sell you more at some level if
Okay,
it's when they want it. The nice thing about solar is that it produces power in the middle of the day, which is when the demand on the utilities is the greatest.
Right.
And that's generally electricity that they have to go out and pay a lot more for if they're going to buy it to sell it to you at that time. So they're usually happy to have
Solar.
customers going solar. There's also, it's part of the mandate in California that they need to have a certain amount of residential solar and a certain amount of renewable energy in the state overall. So there's a lot of reasons why utilities want to see solar happening.
So in California, you have how many counties? There's so many
lot.
counties. Yeah, you have a lot of counties and a lot of cities.
I think you stumped us on that one.
Yeah, well, I know that. I just heard it one day on that there were 110 cities. But as you go further north, there aren't as many cities. And then you move to New Jersey.
Right.
That's a big gap. That's across. What happened to Nevada, Texas, Arizona? Oregon.
Well, the reason why we're in New Jersey and California is that's where the regulatory environment is the friendliest. So
Oh, really?
where the states are the most supportive, and also where the underlying economics are the best, where people can save the most money. So if you think about it, the customer can save the most money where electricity is otherwise the most expensive. So we have expensive electricity in California. So by generating clean solar electricity and offsetting that, you're saving money. Same thing with the Northeast. There are parts of the country in the South and the Midwest where electricity is much less expensive, in part because they're relying more on coal
Which is very dirty.
and other really dirty sources.
Yeah, very dirty.
And so that's why in this evolution of this industry, it's starting out here and in the Northeast, and then what we see is building towards the middle.
Does New Jersey have? You have the whole state of New Jersey.
Yeah.
And when you looked at your marketing and how you were going to do this, and so regulations are real important to you.
Very important.
Absolutely.
So I guess that's what you look at first. One of the first things you look at. How are the regulations?
Absolutely, yeah. There were the local regulations, the price of electricity, the amount of sunlight, the population. Those are all really key factors.
Okay. So how? Now you're coming back to us, the consumer. So talk about how they find us now. How does your company do its marketing?
We, so a whole variety of ways.
I switched on you.
You did. That's okay.
sorry.
We can roll with you.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. So we do basically whatever works, right? As we go out to try and find people. So we have everything from we have people out in neighborhoods that are looking at houses and letting people know that they would be a good candidate for solar. We have direct mail campaigns. We advertise on the internet.
Radio.
We have radio ads. We're constantly trying things. All of our marketing is direct response. So we want to be able to test it, measure it, see if it's cost effective for us and if it works out. And we're constantly evolving.
Do you come like into a city and try to learn a lot about each city?
We do.
And try to penetrate a city?
So we will, we'll look at and go city by city sometimes, and we also, from a direct mail perspective, we'll look at that city and say, hey, this may be a good city to let people know about, and try and let them know about it that way, or work out an arrangement with a retailer in that city, and have people at that retailer letting people know about solar as they come by, and when people want to learn more, we sign them up for a consultation. So it's really across the board.
Sounds that way.
Yeah, and there are some cities that are friendlier to solar than others, where the fees are lower, the process is easier, and so we try to focus on the cities that are the friendliest, and stay away from the ones that are really tough. And that really works to the city's advantage, because we bring in jobs, and we bring in product and sales tax revenue and all kinds of things that stimulate the local economy.
And where's your biggest clientele? Do you?
In terms of which city?
Which cities?
There's a couple over Southern California. I mean, we're all over Southern California, but Simi Valley is a big area for us.
Really?
That's
interesting.
Good homes, not a ton of mature trees that block the sun. Very interested population in figuring out how to save and go solar. So that's an area where we see a lot. We were talking about Orange before. Maybe because it's where our headquarters were, but we do a lot of solar down in the city of Orange as well.
How about in Orange County?
Throughout Orange County.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Southern California Edison is a great utility for solar. When I say great, the rates are a little high, and they have a good rebate program, and they're great to work with in terms of getting solar on the roof for their customers. So the majority of our business is in Southern California Edison.
And you want to expand to Northern California.
And we are expanding. One thing about this, most people, or a lot of people, think that solar is really just for people who are affluent or wealthy. It's expensive, and it costs a lot of money, and you have to write a big check.
Well, yeah, they're thinking if I'm putting $10,000, let's say, into solar panels, all right, let's say it's $10,000, and your average utility bill, like mine's $40 a month.
Right.
You're probably not a great candidate then.
I'm not a great, I'm not.
Right.
That's the truth. My utility bill is about 40 a month. So it's not very high. I have a small house. What is your ideal client?
Well, that's what I was really getting to was the.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's fine. It's the perfect question. What's really changed about the industry is you can now lease a system as opposed to buying one, and what leasing allows is from the customer's perspective, you can get a solar system on your roof. You can pay zero down, so it costs you nothing up front. And you can start saving a little money at the beginning relative to what you've been paying before, and you lock in your cost for the life of the lease. So as electricity rates go up, you start saving more and more and more over time, and that's opened up the market to all parts of Southern California, all parts of all of California, all demographics, all income levels. And that's made a really big difference in the industry. It's a big part of the reason why we're growing and the industry is growing.
Because of the leasing.
Yeah, the leasing and opening it up to folks that otherwise couldn't afford it, and folks where the savings that result are really meaningful.
Oh, I think solar is the way to go. I mean, my house. See, what is the okay? Let's just say, just take round numbers. What is the average? Let's say your utility bill a month that would be good for solar, or square footage.
So it depends on the utility, really,
okay.
Because utilities have all different rates. But for Southern California Edison, for example, anyone with about a $125 bill or more is a good candidate potentially. So, Ken was talking about the savings aspect, but I just want to emphasize the importance of, for a lot of people in a lease, of being able to lock in the cost of their power. A lot of our customers are on fixed income. And if you think about it, their energy costs are something they can't control today. So if the utility decides to increase their rates by 20, 30%, which in the past SCE has in a single year, gone up 20 or 30%, their income's not increasing by 30%. Those people are stuck at that point, just having more of their fixed income go towards their energy cost. And so by putting solar up and having an agreement that locks in the cost of that energy over time, those people are then comfortable that they're not going to get hit with those unexpected shocks. So it's a really nice insurance policy for those kinds of people.
What happens? Is it attached? Is the lease attached to the house or to the person?
It's to the person, but can be assigned to the next owner of the house. So when a person sells, they just transfer the agreement over to the next owner of the house, and so that person gets the benefit and takes on the responsibility for it.
Oh, that's a good idea. That is an excellent idea, because I was thinking, what if you sell your house?
Right.
What happens to your house then?
Well, and that's the hard part when people finance it themselves, and they have to either pay off the loan or take that obligation with them. Leasing gets around that, and it's a great solution for that.
So what's the average they would pay? They would pay the same thing that they're currently paying, or once the solar starts kicking in, then it...
Usually it's about 10% a month that they're going to save with a lease.
Okay.
At the beginning, at the outset. It could be about the same, it could be a little bit of savings. We have customers that are willing to pay a little bit more just to lock in the protection. But you know, they get a couple of benefits. They know what's going to happen with their power rates going forward. They get to feel really good about where their power is coming from. And historically, in California, energy rates have increased at about almost 7% a year. So being able to shield yourself from that going forward is a pretty big thing for most of our customers.
I wanted to ask you, my sister-in-law asked me a question. She lives down in Orange County, and she's in the condominium associations. Do you work with associations?
All the time, yeah. So our customers often are within homeowners associations.
Right, exactly.
And so there's typically some process that's required for the approval from the homeowners association. There's a state law that's actually been in the books for decades that really limits what the homeowners associations can say or do about it. It's more of a process thing. You'd still need to go through the process to get approvals, and there's usually a small fee involved.
Does it have to be passed by the homeowners association? Or, I mean, if she wanted to do solar, she couldn't do it on her own, could she? If she's part of an association?
Well, so
is it this murky? Okay.
Yeah. Well, no. It does typically get passed by the homeowners association, but there's this state law that really prevents them from saying no. And so
it's called the Solar Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
So as the governor and the legislature wanted to make sure that if people wanted to go solar, that their homeowners associations couldn't stop them. So the homeowner associations have the ability to influence where the solar goes a little bit if it's not going to impact someone's economics. But as a homeowner, an individual has a right to go solar. And so the HOAs really are not allowed to block it.
Okay. Now the second question I have is, Monrovia is an old city.
Mm-hmm.
We're 125 years old. We have 126 homes on the historical register. If there's so many rules and regulations with historical homes, are they allowed to have solar?
Oh, sure, absolutely, and we've actually done that with historical homes. You need to get an additional permit and approval as part of the process, but it can be done if the owner wants to and the city approves it.
Yeah, but sometimes if it's on that historical, I forget which, the Mills Act or one of them, that everything has to be the way it was with homes. You know, they have to be in their original condition. I'm not that well versed on this.
Yeah,
but
there
you know
may be.
You know what I'm talking about. So you got these homes.
There may be some homes that are on an additional heightened protected list, and that may be different. What I'm talking about is in historical districts. There are historical districts where you need an extra permit in order to do solar, and that's something that we've done.
Are they receptive to it?
The cities?
The historical districts?
Yeah. I mean, you know, they want to scrutinize it, and that's the purpose of the historical district. But we've done installations in those areas.
Okay. Okay. And then what there was another question. I know those were two. And you put on your my questionnaire that you wanted to eventually expand across the United States and do all 50 states.
I think the question was if we were guaranteed we wouldn't fail, right?
Yeah, right.
What would we do?
Well, yeah. It's a guarantee you wouldn't fail.
So yes, I mean, we love what we do. We love that we're out there and we're saving customers money. Every time we install solar, we make America more energy independent. We make the world a better place, and we save our customers money. And so that's a great thing for us. And it doesn't work everywhere today. As Ken was talking about before, some places have cheaper electricity, some places don't care as much if they get energy from dirty sources, and other states do. So, we'd love nothing more than to be doing solar throughout the country. It's not viable today, but as energy rates go up over time throughout the country, they will naturally, just with inflation, it will become more affordable. And so, we will expand every year, and hopefully not too far off, we'll be in all 50 states.
Where do you see it? Where do you see it 10 years from now? The solar industry. Where do you really see it?
Yeah, we're trying to get through the next 2 or 3 years right now.
Let's just go next 2. Well, I'm from the East Coast, and I was raised on coal, and coal is filthy, and black lung disease, and
Sure.
a lot of people died from black lung disease. So coal is not a good source.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, and that's me personally. I feel strongly about that.
We're with you.
And so so you can't look ahead 10 years.
We can't. We can and we do. I mean, we plan for that.
That's what I was thinking.
No, but so in this industry, the flywheel is turning. The momentum is building. There are now 26 states that have passed some form of solar legislation. Some are more advanced, like California, New Jersey, and others are earlier in the process. But it's happening. And so as I think about the future, maybe 10 years, maybe 15 years, but it's going to be available everywhere. That momentum is there now.
What do you think the next 5 states are going to be? Just to...
I think it's going to be Northeast states.
Really?
Yeah, we see a lot of states moving in the right direction in the Northeast. You see states, Hawaii has a robust solar program, again, because electricity is very expensive there. It's hard to get electricity there. Florida, there's a lot of sunlight in Florida, so there's an opportunity there. Those are the places that I look at.
That you see.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap up. Say the name of your company.
I'd be happy to. Our company is Verengo Solar, and we're the largest installer of solar in California for homeowners. And you can find information about us at www.verengosolar.com. Thank you for having us.
Well, thank you very much for being here. This is Marlene Gibb with What Do You Do?
This program is brought to you by P. Murphy & Associates, successfully providing IT professionals to Southern California businesses.